Hiya Rob, lovely to meet you the other day and do some work on your game. Hopefully you had a safe journey back. Obviously, judging by your email, you enjoyed your session. Glad to hear it. Feedback should be good. I thought that the way you hit it at the end of your session was far better than you hit it at the beginning of the session. Great changes in regards to your ball flight, which is always nice, and also some great changes in regards to the picture you were making, if you will. When we started off at the session, the first thing that we talked about was, or the first thing that you pointed out that you were unhappy with, was the length of your arm swing on the way back. So when we were viewing it from face on, you could put more weight forward. That was one thing that we discussed. You can see there the weight's pretty central, certainly not favouring the lead leg too dramatically. You'd want to see a little bit more weight forward, like you see with Charlie Wee in the top centre. And then it was a case of this long, narrow look at the top that was irritating you a little bit. And we looked at that from down the line, and the thing we saw was that the hands elevated pretty quickly, got above plane, club went very across the line, and more importantly, we lost pressure here between the top of the right arm and the torso. Now, we talked about players, the view you're seeing is what you see with Charlie Wee here in the top centre, weight favouring the lead leg, staying in the lead leg during the backswing, controlling the radius of the swing, so we can see here that the hands are to the side of the head rather than getting lost behind the head. But what we weren't paying attention to, what was going on here down the line, maintaining pressure point 5 under the right arm was very important. So the first change we made was to tidy that up with a swing sort of position here that's very much across the line. The first thing we're going to do is try and line that club up with the hands. We're going to try and relocate the right arm against the torso. We're going to try and get the club to line up with the hands. As we do that, it starts to drop under plane. The hips start to tuck under. The head comes off the wall. We get very much underneath it, and that's why we start to hit pushes and overdraws when we're at the golf course. As you come through the golf ball, we're hitting out at it excessively, and again that's going to impart too much spin or throw the arms off the ribcage too much and hit a big push to the right. You can see the act of trying to regain pressure point 5, the subsequent effect on tucking the hips under, the head coming off the wall, thrust the arms off the rib cage, increases the rate of closure on the shaft of the golf club, on the face of the golf club, and results in a very high exit position on the way through. So what we first did was control pressure point 5. That gets the hands and arms working in a little bit more on the way back, gets us a little bit less across the line at the top. Just play that back through to the top. So at this stage, we're a little bit shorter at the top, we're a little bit less across the line at the top. We've maintained the pressure under the right arm against the torso at the top of the backswing. We're then still going to want to tuck the hips under and drop the club on the inside, because that's sort of what we've always had to do. And as I said, when we're out on the golf course, we're not dropping it under as much because we tuck it in a little bit more, a little bit less across the line. But there's still certain tendencies in there, particularly in the tucking of the hips. As you come into impact and through impact now, you continue down the plane line as opposed to having the arms thrust off the rib cage and the plane shifted way to the right. And when we're looking on flight scope, the horizontal plane line with yourself at the start of the session was dramatically to the right. Towards the end of the session it was in line, or on occasion a little bit to the left. That results in a completely different finish position and exit position, exiting lower and finishing in a more compact manner. That was near sort of midway through your session. You still weren't quite comfortable with the whole keeping the pressure under the right arm, so it looked a little bit contrived on the way through. But the overall effects it had on your ball flight and your ability to deliver the club to the back of the ball was fantastic. We also worked a little bit on shortening the arm swing to boot. You see here on the bottom left, the act of shortening the arm swing controlling the radius of the swing and trying to encourage the wrists to hinge a little bit more during the backswing. If you look at Charlie Wee, controls the arm swing, but the wrists are hinging incrementally throughout the backswing. Because of the previous swing that you've made, excessively long in the arms, at this point, instead of cocking the wrists, you start to flex the elbows and just have excessive arm swing. So in shortening the swing of the arms, you'll start to encourage the loading of the wrists. So focus on pressure point 5, keeping the top of the right arm against the rib cage throughout the golf swing, and also focus on controlling the length of the arm swing during your practice sessions. Good luck with it, and please keep me posted as to your progress. Well done.